What you are about to witness are photographs and videos of real UFOs. In 1981, Carlos Diaz photographed a UFO in Tepoztlan, Mexico. This was before personal computers could digitally manipulate photographs. Note the reflection of the UFO on the hood of Carlos Diaz's car. Carlos Diaz would be given a video camera 10 years later to film some of the most amazing video ever recorded of a UFO. Carlos Diaz claims to have boarded this UFO, and he described the pilots as being human-looking. The only Mayan temple built in the mountains of Mexico is in Tepoztlan, where Diaz photographed this UFO. Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam, has claimed that he too boarded a UFO craft in Tepoztlan with human-looking pilots. He says it occurred in 1985. In 2003, hidden images of bearded humanoids were found by Sollog in the 1981 photographs taken by Carlos Diaz, validating the claims of both Carlos Diaz and Louis Farrakhan. These are the first photographs of UFO pilots ever seen. 10 bearded faces can be seen in this photograph taken by Carlos Diaz. The center of the image contains 4 bearded faces. This is a close-up of the Diaz photograph that shows ghostly images with beards. This image has the bearded faces outlined. This is an enhanced rendering of the Diaz photograph. This image is a further enhancement. The bearded faces are very clear. The video of this UFO in Tepoztlan, filmed by Carlos Diaz, is perhaps now the most important video of any UFO ever recorded, since we now know that both Carlos Diaz and Louis Farrakhan did see humanoid UFO pilots in this UFO craft in Tepoztlan. The following video was filmed before 9/11 occurred. One of the patterns found by analyzing major UFO sightings is that they often occur where major tragedies will soon happen. This UFO was filmed hovering at the exact location where a plane crashed into the Twin Towers on 9/11. Coincidence or a warning?
You getting all this? The World Trade Center?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
What is that? It's over there.
In 2003, Barbara Sikoranza came forward and identified herself as the woman in this World Trade Center UFO video. She is the wife of Chris Stein, who is one of the founders of the rock band Blondie. He is a known UFO buff. Barbara says this amazing UFO footage was shot using CGI, computer-generated imaging for Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi, which was owned by Universal Studios when the footage was released, refuses to comment on if the video is real or a hoax. Is it real or is it fake? This video of a UFO at the World Trade Center has the same pulsating orange illumination of the Carlos Diaz UFO video. Did this UFO also warn us of 9/11? Were the terrible events of 9/11 so important in the history of mankind that UFOs tried to alert us to this event to give us a warning?
Second plane crashed into the tower number 2. That's the one to the left, where the darker smoke is billowing out right now. We have reports, CNN has been told that one of the planes was an American Airlines 760. Now, no words, no reason.
I think we all have struggled today with a way to define just the impact of what was witnessed here in New York. As you know, Aaron, this is 30 blocks away. As you know, the city is in a
Sollog was investigated by the FBI due to his warning about how future tragedy would hit Washington, D.C. on 9/11. On 9/11, 1998, Sollog issued this warning about 9/11. It was posted to Usenet and archived with a timestamp by a major search engine. The warning stated on 9/11 a major emergency would occur in Washington, D.C. 3 years later, 9/11 occurred. The following is an amazing video of a UFO flying overhead.
Are you still there? I've got it, yeah.
Thousands of people saw these lights for an extended period of time over Phoenix. They have appeared multiple times. The same lights that thousands saw over Phoenix appeared years before in the town of Gulf Breeze, Florida. Why do the same types of UFOs keep appearing over and over all over the world? Hurricane Opal struck the area where the lights of Gulf Breeze appeared. This is another example of a famous UFO sighting occurring where a future tragedy later struck. Opal was the third costliest hurricane in U.S. history when it occurred. The same formation of lights appeared over Oneida in New York State. Some amazing video of UFOs have been taken by crews of the shuttle missions. In this video, a UFO makes a 180-degree turn, and then a pulse of light is emitted from the Earth as if a laser weapon was fired. Other UFOs appear throughout this mission. A UFO appears shortly after the takeoff of STS-58. The mission was flown by Shuttle Columbia. Were the UFOs seen on shuttle missions warnings about future tragedies connected to shuttle missions? This is an amazing video filmed during Apollo 16. Many believe a UFO base is located on the moon. A famous video of a UFO was filmed during a test flight of the Concorde. Was the Concorde UFO another warning about the tragic ending of the Concorde class of planes? This is a famous video of a UFO over Kobe, Japan. Was the Kobe UFO another warning about the future? Over 5,000 died in the Great Kobe Quake. One of the biggest stories in the study of UFOs is Billy Meyer. Over the years, he has released some amazing photos and films of UFOs. The biggest story in Russian UFOs involves Sverdlovsk, a site near where the U-2 spy plane shoot-down occurred. Sverdlovsk is also an area where Russia created many arms, including nukes. Some say this footage was produced by an American film crew. No concrete proof has been offered yet to validate it is a hoax. Triangle UFOs have been spotted all over the world. However, the first videos of it were shot in the Belgium area. In the 1950s, many people witnessed this invasion over the capital of the USA. It was well reported in the media. "50 years later, the same lights were seen over DC. There are often repeat cycles in UFO events. Most involve a 50-year window. This UFO event was witnessed by many. The U.S. military made an all-out attempt to shoot down this UFO. It made headlines in newspapers. Since ancient times, UFOs have been drawn by man. These images appear in an Egyptian tomb in Abydos. Note how similar these images look to UFOs and modern spacecraft. Throughout history, images of UFOs and strange-looking beings have been drawn by man. These drawings have been found on rock drawings from ancient times to works from ancient Egypt. These images show strange crafts in medieval artwork. In 1947, the media reported the U.S. government had captured a crashed UFO in the Roswell, New Mexico area. The next day, the U.S. Air Force said it was only a weather balloon. This is a photo of an alien from the Roswell crash. This video is said to be from the secret KGB UFO files. Many believe it is a hoax, but again, no proof has been put forward that it is a fake. In 2002, Sollog revealed that 2 pages in the famous FBI UFO Freedom of Information Act release had hidden photos and documents about the Roswell UFO event. A photo of a UFO was overexposed in the FBI UFO release. When a negative is created of that image, the photo of a stealth-looking UFO appears. The image was taken the day before the Roswell story broke in the media. The photo was taken in Phoenix by a man named Rhodes. Phoenix isn't that far from Roswell. An FBI field report on the photo was underexposed in the FBI release. It documents when and where the photo was taken. Why did the FBI intentionally hide this information? Some remarkable video of UFOs have been recorded in Israel. Videos of UFOs have been recorded over Rome. Since 1995, the famous seer, Sollog, has been warning that the age of nuclear terrorism is about to begin. Sollog says the first three areas to be struck by nuclear terrorism are Israel, Rome, and Washington, D.C. All three areas have had major UFO sightings recently. Are the UFO sightings in these areas a warning that the age of nuke terrorism is nigh? As you can see, Sollog has contributed quite a bit to this film. He discovered in 2002 the hidden FBI UFO photos and documents in the FBI Freedom of Information Act release. Sollog also discovered the hidden images of UFO pilots in 2003 that were in the famous Carlos Diaz UFO photos from the early 1980s. Sollog also revealed the pattern of famous UFO sightings occurring where future tragedies struck. Sollog is the author of UFOs, The Proof. Sollog's music was featured throughout this film. Sollog is a world-famous seer that many consider a modern-day Nostradamus. He revealed the PDF formula in 2002, which many consider to be proof the solar system was intelligently designed. The rest of this film contains information about Sollog that you should find interesting. In 1995, Sollog started writing about the line of Sollog that runs from south of Seattle through Oklahoma City and just south of Miami. Sollog pointed out that where Hurricane Andrew struck just south of Miami was a key anchor point on the line that extends into the Caribbean and also into Alaska. Hurricane Andrew was the worst natural disaster in the history of the USA at the time this was made. Sollog warned that the slaughter of the innocent would strike this line of tragedy over and over. Since 1995, these tragic events have occurred directly on or very close to the line of Sollog. April 19, 1995, the Oklahoma City bombing occurred on the line of Sollog, in the heart of America. Sollog was detained by the U.S. government after this tragedy due to his warnings by fax to the editors of the top newspapers in the USA. Until 9/11 occurred, the Oklahoma City bombing was the worst act of terrorism to have occurred on U.S. soil in U.S. history. The Columbine School Massacre struck the line of Sollog in Littleton, Colorado. Other major school shootings struck the line in Springfield, Oregon, and Jackson, Mississippi. In 1995, Hurricane Opal struck the line of Sollog. It was at that time the third largest financial damage to the USA caused by a hurricane. ValueJet 592 crashed near Miami on the line of Sollog. Johnny Versace was killed near Miami on the line of Sollog. The largest manhunt in recent U.S. history was in the Miami area for the killer of Versace, Andrew Cunanan. Joan Benet Ramsey was killed on the line of Sollog in Boulder, Colorado. Michael Kennedy died on the line of Sollog while skiing New Year's Eve in Aspen, Colorado. Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped on the line of Sollog in Salt Lake City, Utah. Lori Hacken was murdered by her husband in the same city on the line of Sollog. In 2004, Hurricane Charlie struck the line of Sollog just south of Tampa. Hurricane Ivan then struck the line of Sollog near Mobile Bay. Hurricane Jean killed over 1,000 in northern Haiti on the line of Sollog. The line of Sollog is dead straight. Why did the worst hurricane in U.S. history, the worst school shooting in U.S. history, and the worst act of terrorism in U.S. history all strike on a dead straight line? On the very line guaranteed by Sollog in 1995 to be where the slaughter of the innocent would occur. The theory of chaos states the formation of our solar system just happened. Proof of intelligent design to our solar system would destroy the theory of chaos. In 1995, Sollog released the Creator Formula. Fans of Sollog say the Creator Formula and Sollog's planetary distance formula are the mathematical proof that the solar system was intelligently designed. Can it be Sollog has given mankind the proof of God? In the Creator Formula, Sollog shows how two symbols in the creation myths of several major religions are a simple formula to create the perfect circumference of the earth. The two main symbols of the Creator Formula are the cube and the period of 100 years. The cube appears in ancient Egyptian symbolism as a symbol for creation. The cube was considered the earth by the Pythagoreans of ancient Greece. The cube is represented as the Holy of Holies in the Old Testament. Brahma, the creator god of Hinduism, sits on a cube throne that is said to represent earth. A symbol of creation in Buddhism is the cube. To this day, Muslims dance around a black cube in Mecca. The number 100 is also featured prominently in the creation myths of ancient religions. Abraham was 100 when Isaac, the father of Israel, was born. Brahma lived to be 100 years old, and Hindu myth says the earth was designed using the age of Brahma, that being 100 years. In ancient Greece, the god Hermes was said to measure the earth using his books of wisdom. The number of Hermes' books was 36,525. That number is the amount of days in 100 years. NASA has spent millions of dollars to measure the earth exactly. NASA says the equatorial circumference of the earth is 24,902 miles. The polar circumference of the earth is 24,860 miles. The average of these two numbers is 24,881 miles. 24,881 is the average circumference of the earth. The cube is described mathematically as having 6 sides, 8 corners, and 12 lines of dimension. That is expressed mathematically as 6, 8, 12. The creator formula uses two numbers. The first is the days in 100 years of Earth orbits around the Sun. That number is 36,525. The second number is based on the dimensions of the cube: 6 sides, 8 corners, and 12 lines of dimensions. 36,525 times 0.6812 equals 24,881. The perfect circumference of the Earth. Why do the days in 100 years of Earth orbits multiplied by the dimensions of a cube equal the perfect circumference of the Earth? Why do these symbols appear in the ancient creation myths of Egypt, Greece, Judaism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Islam? The reason Sollog called this formula the creator formula is due to it being an acronym for circumference, ratio, Earth, aligned to, orbital rotations, creator. In 2002, Sollog released a proof for his creator formula. That proof is known as PDF, or the Planetary Distance Formula. The first part of PDF explains how all the eye-visible planets in our solar system are ratio aligned to Earth. The only exception is Venus. The odds of Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn all being ratio aligned to Earth is astronomical. The fact that these planets are indeed ratio aligned to Earth is proof the theory of chaos is false. The fact that 4 out of 5 eye-visible planets in our solar system are ratio aligned to Earth is proof that our solar system was intelligently designed. The way to see the ratio alignment is by comparing the circumferences of these ratio aligned planets to Earth and then analyzing the circumference ratios to the orbital ratios. For instance, the circumference of Mercury is 9,525 miles. The circumference of Earth is 24,881 miles. The ratio between 9,525 and 24,881 is 0.38. That is the circumference ratio. This number matches the orbital ratio. The distance of Mercury to the Sun is 36 billion miles. The distance of Earth to the Sun is 93 billion miles. The ratio of 36 to 93 is 0.38. That is the same ratio as the circumference ratio between Mercury and Earth. These two numbers should not be aligned to each other perfectly in a solar system created by chaos. The next planet in our solar system that is aligned to Earth in this exact manner is Saturn. The circumference of Saturn is 235,296 miles. The circumference of Earth is 24,881 miles. The ratio between 24,881 and 235,296 is 0.10. The distance of Saturn to the Sun is 890.8 billion miles. The distance of the Earth to the Sun is 93 billion miles. The ratio between the distance of Saturn to the Sun and the Earth to the Sun is 0.10. Once again, the circumference ratio of Earth and a planet matches the ratio of the distances of these two planets to the Sun. Both planets, Mercury and Saturn, are perfectly aligned to their circumference ratios to Earth and their orbital distances to the Sun. Proof of design. The next two planets that align to the circumference of Earth to their own circumferences are Mars and Jupiter. Both planets have circumference ratios perfectly aligned to Earth, since the period of their orbits around the Sun are ratio aligned to Earth's orbit around the Sun and circumference. For instance, the circumference of Mars is 13,264 miles. The circumference of Earth is 24,881 miles. The ratio between Mars and Earth is 13,264 to 24,881, or 0.53. The orbital ratio between Mars and Earth is the same number, 0.53. Mars orbits the Sun in 687 days. Earth orbits the Sun in 365.25 days. The ratio between these two orbital numbers is 0.53, the same exact ratio as the circumference ratio between these two planets. The next planet in our solar system to be perfectly aligned to Earth is Jupiter. The circumference of Jupiter is 279,118 miles. The circumference of Earth is 24,881 miles. The ratio between 279,118 and 24,881 is 0.08. Jupiter's orbit around the Sun is 4,331 days. Earth's orbit around the Sun is 365.25 days. The ratio between 365.25 and 4,331 is 0.08, the exact same ratio as the circumference ratio between Earth and Jupiter. As you can see, both Mars and Jupiter are ratio aligned to Earth's circumference, as is Mercury and Saturn. Why are 80% of the eye-visible planets ratio aligned perfectly to Earth's circumference and orbital measurements? In a solar system created by chaos, these planets would not be ratio aligned to Earth. Chaos did not create the solar system. It was intelligently designed, as the planetary distance formula clearly shows. Isn't it amazing that most religious paths have the key symbols of the Creator formula in their creation myths? The time has come for world religions to unite to one truth. That truth is, we live within a created solar system.